What is up, YouTube? Welcome to the crypto space. This is your BTC weekly analysis. Today we're going to be going over Ethereum and Bitcoin, and I'm going to be giving you some on-chain data, some metrics, and my analysis on it for this week and the next coming weeks. So let's hop straight into it. Before we get started, I would appreciate if you could give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to stay updated. This channel is literally like 2 weeks old and I already hit 100 subs, so thank you guys so much for all the subs and the love you guys have been showing me. So let's hop straight into the video. Starting off with basically a market overview. Like obviously we are seeing Ethereum put in an insane figure. Right now I'm seeing Ethereum at 3,400, 25% up since the last highs. Litecoin, basically the entire market doing very well. I mean, obviously BTC had a little tank over there at 5% drop, but everything's holding up pretty good. Litecoin up 16% in a week. Chainlink again up 24%, 10% up today. Starting off with some pretty bullish news. We saw the S&P launch cryptocurrency indexes this week, debuting Bitcoin and Ether. They launched 3 indexes: the S&P Bitcoin Index, the S&P Cryptocurrency Mega Cap Index, and the S&P Ethereum Index. Now these are 3, basically they stressed that. Now this again is pretty bullish news. We are seeing more institutional demand for getting into the crypto space, and I think this is just going to be a pretty bullish indicator to me personally, that more institutions are interested in BTC and the crypto space. So that is a good thing for me. So starting off with this week's on-chain analysis, we're going to be going over a couple of metrics that are pretty important for you to get an understanding of what is happening in the market right now. Starting off with the stablecoin supply, we saw this week the stablecoin supply hit another all-time high. As you can see, we have hit $51.8 billion, which is right now the stablecoin supply on the exchanges. And usually this is basically the inflow that is coming into exchanges over a period of time, and this is the total number of exchanges over here. So the recent stablecoin inflows have pushed the stablecoin supply ratio down to a value of 13.4%. The more stablecoins enter into exchanges, the more there's buying power basically. So this is another chart which basically shows you the long-term holders net position changes. So this distribution area mostly is either profit spending or profit taking, and this area is an accumulation range. Like as you can see, the last time we had an accumulation range was from March to November approximately, and then price rocketed up from there. And then we had a distribution phase in this bull trend up, and again we are right now basically range bound and less and less spending of the coins. Again, total supply held by long-term hodlers. When you see the supply decrease, this is a distributed spending, and when you see the supply increase, this is an accumulation. The hodlers basically trying to accumulate more and more BTC, and right now we did see a huge move to the downside in terms of supply and this was a distribution. Basically it started somewhere in November and ended in somewhere in March. I think this was the first time we hit 50. Yeah, this was the first time we hit 50-ish, and we had a huge move to the downside in terms of supply. So this was clearly a lot of profit taking, and right now we are again in this accumulation phase, at least a start of the accumulation phase from March. So we're going to have to wait and see how this progresses, but at the moment it is looking pretty bullish. Obviously nobody wants to sell here. They're just trying to accumulate more and more BTC. And another point is, I showed this to you guys the other day as well in the video. This chart shows you a percentage of BTC wallets that are in the profits, and this recent price dump was the first time we hit a negative or a neutral level, as you can see. Yeah, this price dump we had last week was the first time we basically reset the whole market. And if you guys weren't a part of the 2017 bull run, this happened 5 times back then. So that's what I mean. When you see huge move to the downside, that is almost always indicative of a market reset. And what this does, it usually flushes out basically anybody who's leveraged, and it scares the entire market. And this is when you want to be looking for longs. Like, I'm not saying you should be, this is not financial advice, but this is just my opinion, and this is the way I trade personally. Because when you have negative open interest, when you have the entire market basically panicking, and you believe in the long-term view for Bitcoin, Like back in 2017, we saw 5 resets. Literally, we saw huge, over 30% corrections 5 times. So for me, BTC looks pretty good so far. Like all the on-chain indicators show me that there is, bullish momentum, and the top hasn't come in yet. We cannot time this stuff. You're just going to have to go with the flow. You cannot say that BTC is going to hit 200,000 tomorrow and it's going to hit 1 million tomorrow when I wake up. And if it doesn't, I'm just going to go, sell all my Bitcoin. But it's better to take a step back and stop trying to time the market and let things happen on its own. Like Ethereum has hit a high this week, and it's made an insane move up. Like literally, we went from 2,500 to 3,500 in less than 7 days. So that is pretty insane. And anybody who's an Ethereum hodler, congratulations. Now on the Ethereum chain, we have to look at Ethereum from a little bit of a different perspective, because compared to Bitcoin, Ethereum has more of a active financial ecosystem, where long-term hodlers also deploy their coins in and out of smart contracts applications, and also staking and stuff like that. So there is a lot of applications that are built on the ETH network. So with DeFi and smart contracts and all these protocols, there are a lot of complications to Ethereum compared to Bitcoin. I mean, so you have to look at Ethereum in a different way, but you can still take the same concepts from Bitcoin and apply it here. Now, starting off with exchange inflows and outflows, this week we saw a large volume of Ethereum removed from exchange wallets, spiking to 200k Ethereum in a single day. This compares to only 2 days with exchange inflows of 200k per day, indicating a preference for holding their Ethereum in their own wallets. And if you can see, like we had a spike to 700k inflow Ethereum back in Jan, and again we saw 500k putting back in April, basically 20th April. And we have only seen 200k Ethereum being transferred off of exchanges twice so far. This was in Jan. And from there, we have made a pretty significant move up. And at the moment, it doesn't look like people want to be selling their ETH. And like I said in my last video as well, with the grayscale effect, maybe money is going to be pouring into Ethereum instead of Bitcoin. Because right now, there is a lot of institutional interest for that. And not only are Ethereum coins being withdrawn from exchanges, they are also finding their way into smart contracts and DeFi applications. Like I said, smart contracts right now hold 22.8% of the Ethereum supply, and exchanges only hold 12%. This has steadily decreased over a long period of time, and again we are at all-time lows, but the smart contracts are at all-time highs. So this means that there is already 22% of Ethereum taken off of exchanges and locked into smart contracts, making Ethereum more illiquid right now, and again, some basic supply and demand. But there is also this thing called the NVT ratio, which is basically the network value to transaction ratio, as you can see in this chart. And basically, NVT ratio uptrends are more bearish, meaning the flows are getting smaller relative to market cap, and the network may be overvalued. And an NVT downtrend is more bullish, indicating the transaction volumes are increasing relative to the market cap. So right now, since back in April to Jan of this year, Jan of last year, we saw a extremely bearish move up on the network value to transactions ratio. That means the network wasn't being used as much. So that was a clear bearish indicator. But ever since Jan, Feb last year, we have seen a constant decrease in the NVT ratio. So this is super bullish for Ethereum. And right now we are still at 3000 ETH, and long term it is looking pretty good. So yeah, things are looking pretty good for Ethereum and BTC this week. And obviously we are having a pullback on Ethereum. We hit 3400, which is pretty insane, and we dipped down to 3200, and now we're back again at 3300, which is that's just insane. Like, the amount of people who are bullish on Ethereum at the moment is huge. And meanwhile, BTC tanks 5% and doesn't do much to the market. So that just shows me there are a lot of bulls right now for Ethereum. And yeah, hopefully this continues and we don't really see much volatility. But I just think BTC is just going to be range bound for a while. And if it does fail to hold some key levels or something, I will be updating this channel and post my thoughts. So that is it for this week's video. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay updated. But I would appreciate you subscribing, and that does help support this channel a lot. And yeah, that is it for this week. I'll see you guys in the next one.